All right. Anything happening in Mets land lately? Haven't been checking the last couple of days. So do you guys want to start with the good news or the bad news? What do you think? Good news or bad news?
Oh, let's start. Well, you guys have gotten your share of bad news this week, so you got something good?
Yeah, the good news is Pete Alonso's gone. No, I'm just kidding. Just kidding. Obviously, there's a lot of bad. Come on, I'm just kidding. The good news is the Mets did make a signing today, and I do think we should start there. Jorge Polanco is coming to the Mets, and Keith was so excited about the green room. Oh, I'm serious. Talk Mets Keith off the left. Polanco.
I mean, I talk everybody off the ledge. If David Stearns believes in this move for defense and run prevention and being insanely athletic, and he is already gone, knowing all that, I actually love this move because nobody else is doing this. And the Mets are going to create a team that, on paper, is going to, as someone who does every single game, I get on the bus after games against the Brewers, and I can do games against God knows the Marlins. These teams let's lose tonight. It is moves like this, different ways of doing it that are painful, that I think in the long run, we go, wow, this is actually way better than I thought. How does this happen? And moves like this is a move in the direction that David Stearns wants. With the Mets, they're not going to give up as many as they've been giving up the last, 4 or 5 years.
Laura, you seem a little skeptical of that.
Jorge Polanco has played one game at first base in his entire career. And I go back to like that Ron Washington quote where it's just like, playing first base is easy. And tell him watch, it's like, no, it's actually incredibly hard. I mean, anybody who watched the best infield on the planet of Robert Ventura, Ray Ordonez, Edgardo Alfonso, John Olerud knows how important John Olerud at first base was. Having a guy who, by the way, was a below average infielder being thrown into a position, that is a significant risk. Of course, Jorge Polanco could be something good here. Of course, he could be a really good first baseman, and that is unquestionable. You love the switch hitting. You love the fact that he can hit homers. You love the fact that he can pull the ball in the air. But can he play first base? And the fact that, when you have an infield right now that's a little bit, you're not sure where it's going to go, even though I think Marcus Semien is a fantastic upgrade. You just need to be able to have a guy at first base who can catch the ball. And do you know if Jorge Polanco can catch the ball? Do you know if he has those soft hands? Can do it?
What do you think? Are you asking Sal if he knows?
I don't know. I know he can hit the ball, and he did that. He did it well in the postseason against the best of the best. Okay, fair enough. But I love the attributes that Polanco has. A ball player. Those are what I want to see. Now, it's obviously hard to lose Alonso. No Met fan is going to be excited about this 1-for-1, but it's not 1-for-1. Right. You like the addition of Polanco here as they try to build out this team post breaking up their core?
I mean, sure. I would probably split the difference between what you guys just said. I think that obviously Laurie is unproven as a first baseman.
A little bit.
Obviously, you're right about that. I think that I know that in talking to David Stearns over the past couple of years, that when he talks about defense, he really means up the middle defense, primarily anybody else. And that's a common thing in baseball, but it's not what everybody thinks. Billy Epler, who came from a philosophy that he learned from being in the Yankee front office, believes in corner defense as a strong priority. So they're not trying to bring in a plus defender at a corner in Polanco. They're trying to bring in a ball player who brings a lot to the table, who can be versatile. They obviously have a full-time second baseman in Marcus Semien, but I think what you're going to find is that Carlos Mendoza's lineup on any given day, depending on the matchup, is going to look a little bit different. And they have different things they can do with a guy like Polanco. This is why, from a baseball standpoint, they didn't love Alonso, because he's not going to do anything for you other than first base or DH. That's not the case with the Polanco. So although he's not a proven defender at first, I actually would guess, knowing Stearns, that was not the point.
Right, but and I trust obviously what you're saying, if Stearns talks about building defense and prioritizing that up the middle, then why not just bring Pete back? If defense isn't that big of a deal at the corners, why not bring Alonso back? That's what I need to know. And I understand you could win without Pete, and the Mets will be fine. They'll build a roster out here. But I also understand the importance of having that power bat in the lineup. That's something that he did consistently from start to finish. And if you're telling me it's not because of the defense at first base, then what is it?
Pete's got that. We all know he's got that great scoop. Otherwise, he's a minus for you defensively. He just is. We all know that. But it's a fair question. And I think with Alonso, it's also age and term. What the Mets are determined not to do is become that team like we've seen the Yankees become sometimes, where they're all old and expensive at the same time. And the way that you do that is to let people go when it hurts. Brandon Nimmo getting out of the back end of that contract, forget about what anyone feels about that emotionally for a moment, and that's real. But getting out of the back end of that contract is helpful to not all get old at the same time. They were so adamant that they didn't want Alonso for that 4th and 5th year. Now, they may be proven wrong about that. If he's mashing home runs for the Orioles 5 years from now, the Mets estimated wrong. But Lindor is not getting any younger. Soto's not getting any younger. I would venture to say that nobody in this room actually is getting any younger. That's kind of the way it goes, right? We're marching in one direction, and that's as dark as
yeah, it's the wrong one. Yes.
Yeah. Yeah, no problem.
You see what we got to deal with every day?
I know, that's me. Anyway, they are making a 2-year commitment to Jorge Polanco.
Yeah.
In year 3, it'll be a different guy. The thing about Pete, the thing about Nimmo, it was just the lack of flexibility going forward as they age is the larger answer to that.
Keith, you okay with that decision moving on? You seem excited, much like I am to a certain extent, but I miss Alonso maybe a little bit more. You excited about the way that they're trying to build this ball club out now, minus Nimmo and obviously Pete?
Yeah, first and foremost, like Brandon Nimmo is, he doesn't. I have 2 daughters. He can marry my wife, let alone my 2 daughters. I love Brandon Nimmo. Like I love Brandon Nimmo. I can say that every day. Moving on from him sucks personally. Pete Alonso, same thing. Working with him every day, same idea. But now that it wasn't working. It wasn't working. We all wanted it to work with them, right? We all wanted them to win a championship, win a World Series. It just was not working. Okay, I'm buying into someone with the gall and there's some kids in this room, so I'll just be nice, the cojones to disrupt what we all love so much and believe in what might come out on the other side. In this city, when someone does something like that, okay, I admire that. That's a lot of gumption because David Stearns' career is on the line, which is why I believe in the Mets are going to win this year. This is not a rebuild. They're going to win in 27, 26. I'm just fascinated as to how. I believe that it'll happen. So I'm excited not to lose these people that I love seeing every day, that made a lot of money, that hit a lot of home runs, that had a lot of big moments, that just would go home at the end of the year and go, what just happened? What went wrong? But I'm excited to see what comes out on the other side.
Yeah, I mean, and if you do look at it, yeah, everyone seems to really love this core, but this core didn't even make a World Series appearance. So, yeah, what David Stearns is doing right now is gutsy. And I think, I do actually like the Jorge Polanco signing in that I think 2 years, $40 million, you're not giving him a lot of years. You're kind of using this as a jumping off point. That being said, I mean, to go back to your point, I'm still not seeing the vision. How are you going to replace these runs? Because you talk about run prevention, but you also have to score runs in order to win games. You can't win a game 0-0. So right now, David Stearns, and you look at the free agent class right now, and you're like, okay, who can the Mets get that really can compensate for their losses?
Fernando Tatis.
Do you think that's still possible?
They're talking to the Padres.
By the way, 2-time platinum glove.
You're obsessed with him, I know.
Defensive player in baseball last year.
All right, so wait, reports have been out there that the Padres are not going to trade Tatis.
Right.
That's what
So what can you report?
I remember AJ Pro looking me in the eye at 2 GM meetings ago. We are not trading Soto.
Guess what happened?
Yeah, so I would take that talk with a grain of salt.
I would assume that any trade involving Lindor, and those have been rumors here, Lindor potentially to the Padres, that would have to include Tatis coming back. Do you think that that's just kind of a BS rumor, or is there any legitimacy to the idea of maybe breaking up this core even further and moving on from Lindor?
You guys know what we're talking about? You see these rumors about Mets and Padres over the past week?
Of course they know. Come on, we're Mets fans.
I was in the storm at the winter meeting, so I don't know what gets out and what not. So the Mets were talking to the Padres through the week, and there were a lot of different forms that it was taking. My understanding was Lindor was not involved in that. There were a lot of guys, Tatis and Mason Miller and all kinds of names that were being bandied about. Xander Bogaerts, like all kinds of stuff. So that's real that they were talking, but it's speculative to some extent on which players that they were. But I will tell you that when the Mets were denying like strongly that they were going to trade Lindor, but it's, you know, if you're talking about Tatis, like big contract for big contract, that's why people were asking the question. But keep your eye on the Padres as someone who might send you a few players in exchange for some interesting players. That's what I would say are the facts at the moment. Nothing's for sure.
Keith, would you be okay if they furthered the dismantling of this core and trading Lindor?
That's kind of crazy. I think Francisco's your still the best all-around player on the roster. I mean, it's not like he's giving you up something defensively. It was for Ohtani. This is the first Mets MVP ever, right? Last in 2024. But I do like how spicy Preller can get when I hear something like that. There's always stuff behind it, right? And that drives up the asking price even more. It is a lot of money, though, for another player. And I don't think David Stearns wants to get into those long-term deals because he doesn't want them to age poorly.
Right.
But what it does with Lindor, that talking to David and Eduardo as well as some of the people that have been around the team the last 2 years, they're very interested in motivation. How do they get these guys motivated even more, aside from money, to perform well? That's what worked so well in Milwaukee. Totally different place. I get all that. But those guys that are on those Brewers rosters after 10 years under the Stearns and Briswell administration that won are fighting every day for their job, fighting every day to get in the lineup, fighting every day to, like Freddie Peralta wants to turn his career into millions of dollars because he's motivated right now not making millions of dollars. And so when you have these big contracts like they've had, we felt it, right? June, July, like, well, there's no urgency. There's the urgency from this core. They don't all not have urgency, but there was enough of it. You go, you need some motivation. Jose Iglesias is a perfect example of motivation, what that can do for a team. He was galvanizing with what he did in 2024 because he was fighting every day to beat out a ground ball to stay in the big leagues. And so there's a little bit of that. So maybe Francisco Lindor is thinking, they're not going to trade me, right? Maybe not, but they want to make it known that
Like, don't get too comfortable
Don't
either,
get
buddy.
too comfortable.
Yeah. Can I ask this? We never get the chance to do this in front of fans. So, like, I don't know, quick show of hands. Option A is Mets. If the Mets get better by trading Lindor, do it. Option B is don't make me say goodbye to another guy that I like. So option A, trade him if it makes you better.
There we go.
Okay, thank you. Option B, like, come on, we already lost everyone else. Don't trade him.
Right. See, I think option A is the best
Interesting.
one.
I'm more on option A at this point because you've already blown it up. It's a completely different personality, this team now.
Right.
So go ahead, blow it up some more if it makes you better.
And you're somebody who really wanted Pete Alonso back. I know you and I were talking about quite a bit on the set of Baseball Night in New York that you wanted Alonso back.
I did,
but
yeah.
but now that they've come this far, you'd be okay if they did, in fact, trade Lindor.
100%, because one of the reasons I liked Alonso is I also liked his clubhouse presence, but that clubhouse now is completely different. So if you are going to take it down and break it down to the studs, then you need to build kind of a different personality, and you need to be willing to do that. To Keith's point, I like the idea that no one feels comfortable. There was a little bit of that kind of like, okay, we're just going through the motions because we expect to be in the playoffs. It's great to expect to be in the playoffs, but you can't take that as an assumption, and we learned that during Game 162. So sure, you want to know what if the Mets need to get better by trading by trading Lindor, then you trade Lindor. There's no room for sentimentality. Sentimentality went out the window when Brandon Nimmo got shipped to the Rangers.
It's the one thing, very well said, Laura. It's the one thing that I couldn't understand that a lot of people on social media, although there's a lot of things you can't understand about that, were so vehemently against the letting Alonso go or trading Brandon Nimmo. It hasn't worked. It's not 1 year. It's 4 years. I mean, obviously it's beyond that, but at the very least since 2022 when they failed to beat the Braves for that division, stunk it up in the postseason, failed miserably in 2023. 2024, even the start of that was god-awful. Yeah. They barely made the postseason, and then I don't want to say a lucky hit by Pete, but good God, if not one of the most miraculous home runs in the history of the sport, they would have been out in the first round then anyway, washed it down with a miserable year this year. Yeah. It had to change. Yeah. You could love these guys all you want. I don't love losing. They had to change this.
And that's a good point, Sal. And I'll say, too, I'll expand on that by saying that if it hadn't been for this amazing OMG run in the second half of 24 and getting to the playoffs, Stearns would have done a lot of these things a long time ago. at the beginning of the 24 season, when the Mets were obviously not going well, it seemed like they were about to look at trading Alonso at that deadline. And at that point, there was no argument for keeping anything together. I understand they won 101 games in
22.
Yeah, 22.
Yeah. And at least was over.
Yeah, it was over.
Until
I
it
mean,
wasn't.
It was over. It did end. Just
I can't
the way
forget
some
that year,
people-
unfortunately. Yeah.
But anyway, so when Stearns came in, it was like, let's make this a better team. And he actually got delayed on that project by the success in 24, and then he chased that a little in 25.
Now, those are the moves that we're okay with. The one issue that I have here with what went on this week was the Diaz stuff. Because generally with Steve Cohen running things, the Mets get the player that they want. Yamamoto, different story. They did all they could to get the player that they want. He just chose to go elsewhere. With Diaz, it felt like, and I don't know this, Andy, but it felt like the Mets wanted him back.
They did.
Diaz chose the Dodgers for $3 million more, and the Mets' retort was, well, he never came back to us. So from the outside looking in, I think, well, this is the one that they screwed up. What the hell happened with letting Diaz go to the Dodgers?
The Mets would like to know the answer to that themselves. And maybe that's telling in its own way. That you're absolutely right. They wanted to sign Diaz. They didn't. They were lukewarm on Alonso. They wanted Alonso for this year. They really did. This coming year. They just not at the expense of having him in 2030. That's how they looked at it. With Diaz, they were all in, and then were frankly surprised that he signed with the Dodgers. So, I mean, you're looking at, you want to become the East Coast Dodgers. Part of that is the man who runs the Dodgers, Andrew Friedman, is a master experienced negotiator, and he got the player. So the Mets are having, of course, to look at like, well, wait a minute, how'd that happen? That's what happened.
I mean, personally, when I look at that, that's the thing that's most telling to me. I don't mind David Stearns blowing up the core. I don't mind David Stearns like taking these gutsy moves and these big swings. What I am slightly concerned about, and I had actually written about something about this in Newsday today, was that what does this say about the communication between the front office and the existing players? When you're not 100% sure why Edwin Diaz didn't even go back, because he essentially, by not going back to the Mets for a counteroffer, possibly left money on the table. So it wasn't all about money for him. There was something there was a disconnect. Because even talking to him during the MLB Awards last month, I do genuinely believe that he wanted to come back to the Mets. And then something happened. And then he listened to Pete Alonso's press conference yesterday, and he's like, oh, you know, the Orioles, they were so refreshing with their transparency. And he listened to Brandon Nimmo after he got traded, and he goes, well, I was taken aback. But the Mets made it clear that, you know, they thought it was best for the franchise if I got traded. So what is the level of communication right now? And is there that sort of human element, and is that missing? I don't think the human element is the end-all, be-all, but these are still people. Businesses are made of people, and it does matter. So if you're not communicating, and suddenly your reputation is that you are not communicating with your players, do free agents pause a little bit and say, do I want to go to this organization? Because I'm not necessarily sure that their existing players want to stay in the organization.
All fair points in what just happened. One counterpoint that I would make, or even just a different kind of observation, is that when Justin Verlander came back this year as a Giant, I was talking to him about his experience with the Mets and the visiting clubhouse, and he was saying a different thing. So I guess that shows you how this can change depending on the context and what's going on. He said, "Oh, when Tyler Rogers got traded over here, or was it Taylor? Always get those Rogers boys.
Tyler.
When he was like, Tyler, you're gonna love it there. Steve and Alex are like, they make you feel wanted and it's warm, and they want to know how to make players' lives better." And Verlander's telling me, like, the reputation around the league now, it used to be so bad with the Mets, and now it's like word of mouth among players. The family room is great. The chef is great. These might sound silly to us, but players talk amongst themselves and would be like, no, their home clubhouse food is like best in class. They have one thing that the families really love is that they have a family room that has childcare, so the wives of the players can watch the game. This doesn't seem small, but anyway, my point is, like, these reputational things go around. I don't disagree with anything Laura said either. So it shows that, like, it's sort of complex right now. You hear counter indications of different things.
The thing is that something like something like that is that other teams can do that as well. I think the one thing that was telling is when Diaz had his introductory press conference with the Dodgers, they posted a picture of this huge wreath, this balloon wreath, and it just says, "Welcome, Diaz family." And I'm like, well, yeah. I mean, the Mets did have this blueprint of people want to come here because we're good to families. Everyone else can do that too.
No doubt.
Keith, are you still here?
I'm still here. Hello.
Yeah.
I think Edwin Diaz just wanted to go to the Dodgers.
Yeah.
I truly
I
just
don't.
think he wanted to
I
go
actually,
there.
I don't. I'm sorry. I feel like you really wanted to come back.
Ooh, battle it out. Let's go. I like
And
it.
Andy's way more connected than I am. Agents and people, but I mean, if you're
Yeah.
What?
if you're 31,
That could also be true.
32 year,
Nice to see you.
listen, Edwin sat back there in the bullpen this year and watched. I mean, he barely got the ball most times for the night that to close it down.
Because they were losing.
I know that, and he doesn't want to maybe go through that again. So listen, the Dodgers. You heard Tyler Glasnow and Blake Snell, right? You can't beat them. Join them. I think. I'm not saying Edwin's a bad guy for making that decision. I'm just saying I think he wanted to go to the best team that's out there, and it was the Dodgers.
I certainly a learning thing. I'm not gearing up for a debate with you. As much as you may have seen. When the Dodgers want you, they're in the middle of a dynasty right now. Like that's obviously very alluring. I just know that Edwin's love of this city and love of the team and love of the organization was authentic, and that he would have loved to have been back. And then the negotiation ended up with him somewhere else. He wasn't lying to you guys when he said publicly how much he loved it here. That's what I'm saying.
I just want to clear one thing up as well. Most of what you say is not opinion. What I say is always opinion, sometimes based on some inside information, but you are a reporter who reports based on information. So to have people like, oh, Andy doesn't know, I'm telling you, and no matter how many times I tell you on the radio, on SNY or here, he knows what he's talking about. And so you have to trust the reporting. Now, you can take what you want from that.
Right.
But it's not like you're just making stuff up like Keith. No, you know.
I appreciate what you're saying. Keith is on the scene.
Correct. He's there every day as well. Laura's a reporter as well. And even I, who am not a reporter, talk to a lot of people.
Yeah.
But I'm opinion based. You are more information based.
It's my goal, actually. You could find examples of this that would contradict this because none of this is perfect in what we aim for. It's my goal to never express an opinion on our shows. I'm just trying to give information.
That's my point.
Yeah.
Right. So it's not like, Andy thinks
Right.
Diaz wanted to come back to the Mets. There's a reason why you would say that.
Same for Laura. Thanks. That's
Correct.
how we think as reporters.
All right. So we know who's gone. Nemo's gone. Diaz gone. Alonso gone. Oh my God. How are they ever going to come back from that? Polanco here. Devin Williams here.
Yep.
And Marcus Semien here. How do you think the Mets look right now with what they've lost versus what they've replaced it with?
Well, if the season started today, I mean.
Which it doesn't, but I'm just saying so far.
They've lost a lot of wins at the moment. And so they're working on, as we were talking about, ways to improve that. But I don't think we're at a point where we can judge this offseason. And when we were doing our shows and stuff after they lost Diaz and Alonso in consecutive days, the point I was trying to emphasize was, like, this is a point along the continuum of an offseason. It may be a successful one, it may be an unsuccessful one, but obviously today the team is really incomplete. And they took a lot of risks in who they let go. But I don't think it's in any way fair or accurate to say that the team will be worse. We might be able to say that in February or March accurately, but right now there's a lot of stuff coming. And I do believe that this past week was the darkest time for your morale as people who spend your time and money and love and commit dedication, all the things you give to this team. I don't think it's going to get harder emotionally than it was over the past couple of days.
You guys just traded Lindor. There'd be no jerseys left in the area.
That's true.
Hold on tight to your Mark Bianca's
Look at
jersey,
all these
everybody.
people with jerseys.
What do you think of the improvements, or not improvements, the changes so far, pound for pound?
Yeah, this is definitely not enough to know what the heck the plan is. But again, I'm fascinated to see what comes out of this. Cody Bellinger, I think, fits the Mets really well. But Cody's in his 30s, right? He's going to get a long-term deal from Scott Boras. Is that going to turn off David Stearns? He just signed Jorge Blanco, a part of the solution to a 2-year deal. You can't really pivot from Bellinger if we sign him to a long-term deal. So I like Bellinger. I think he fits great. I don't know. I think we're all just confused.
All right, but don't you? I'm kind of excited now. Maybe irrational. I mean, that has happened before, but I'm kind of excited here. Nimmo to me was going the wrong way. All right, yes, I love Pete's power. No way you're going to replace that, but building it out. Simeon here is a player that I'm excited about. Solid defender.
Yeah.
He's a gamer, a competitive guy, going to be motivated to have a bounce back year, has some pop, shore up the right side of the infield defense. Polanco, I don't know about, I'm with you, Laura. Like, he hasn't played first base, so I'm a little apprehensive about that, but he's an athlete. He's a guy that's in the clutch, another guy that can hit probably 20-plus home runs, shoring up the right side. Devin Williams, maybe less excited about pound for pound replacing Diaz, but as far as the structure of the ball club goes, I kind of like where the direction that it's headed.
It's just so soon to tell. I mean, they're flying a little bit from the seat of their pants, and it's not because David Stearns doesn't know what he's doing. He's very smart. He knows exactly what he's doing, but it's whatever the market dictates. You can go after a guy like Edwin Diaz because you really want Edwin Diaz, but Edwin Diaz can go someplace else. That can happen with other players too. So right now, he is taking a huge, huge gamble that the players that he wants to round out this roster will in some way be available to him in the way that is feasible for this organization to accomplish. You need an outfielder. You need starting pitching. You probably need a long man out of the bullpen. If you want Brett Baty at third base, fine. But there's just so many question marks here. And when you have that much variability, when you have that many questions, it sets up such a situation for you to fail. And he knows that.
Yeah, he's betting on himself in a big way.
In a big way.
I have a lot of questions there. The first one that comes to mind is, do you think if Stearns and the Mets fail this year, we know Mendy's already in the hot seat, is there any chance Stearns season? I know it's a loaded question, but that's the first place I went.
I would be inclined to say that that we're not there.
Right. Nor should they be.
Yeah.
Even I don't care if they win 75 games this year. Now that would be ugly, but he's trying to rebuild something. It takes more than one offseason to do that.
Yes, and he has. When Steve Cohen came into the picture here, people, for whatever reason, maybe seem to peg him as like an irrational George Steinbrenner type. But observing him and covering this organization, he's the kind of boss that says, like, I hired you, and I want to give you the leeway to see what you can do. Now, they hired Stearns because he came with a reputation of being, as Laura said, a very smart guy who knows what he's doing, has had good success building winners in Milwaukee on a very low payroll. So I think he's going to get leeway for this. I mean, it's an extreme hypothetical, like, what if it doesn't work this year? Like, what does it look like? How bad is it? How good? But I would not consider him to be close to that point in any stretch. The people who work around him, people he works for, the people who work for him believe that he's going to figure this out.
Okay, so now what's next? Skubal, to me, comes to mind. That's been the report. The Post had that. The Tigers are going to trade him. They'd be morons not to trade him. The Mets are going to be involved in that. Do you think, Andy, that it's realistic that they could land Skubal over the next couple of weeks?
I think for Skubal, what I understand is that they would want, like,
can they get him without McLean?
Probably not. And, like, plus, like, McLean, Sproat, Carson Benz, the deed to City Field, like,
for one year,
one of Steve's children. Man, it's crazy right now. And so I think the Mets would be inclined as human beings in negotiations to be like, all right, Tigers, you know what we will do is give them $400 million in a year, and, like, you get nothing. That's probably a little bit more of what they're thinking of. But I would keep an eye on it as a trade possibility because he's Skubal.
And then if not, Laura, if not Skubal now, do you think then the Mets just pivot to, say, Peralta from the Brewers? At what point do you think the Mets can say, we're not going to trade for Skubal, we're going to start trading for other players?
I think I think it's going to be a fairly quick process, only because the Tigers have that sort of leverage where they don't necessarily have to trade Skubal, where they don't feel like, if we're not getting the return that we want, we don't need to get rid of this guy. I mean, this is a team that went to the playoffs last year. So when you're looking at that, do you pivot to Peralta? I mean, Stearns has said, he indicated it during winter meetings. He loves the need for need trade. He loves the ability to kind of work to take that one thing that maybe, okay, you have this great player that's already on your roster, but you have a glut. Mets have a whole big glut of infielders. They have some extra pitching in the minors. They built up that farm system not so they could prospect hug. They built up that farm system so they could build a sustainable winner on the one hand, but also have trade chips. So this is where they are right now. They went from one of the worst farm systems in baseball to one of the best farm systems in baseball. They're going to use that.
They, to me, like I said, they need somebody who can, again, watching this team go 3 2/3, 2 2. They need somebody that can just pitch.
Just pitch.
6. I mean, Terry Collins is here. He's like 6. Harvey, them guys give me 7, 8, 9. Mets could barely get 5 out of some of these guys. So they desperately need somebody who's done it. I know Zach Gallen is still out there. Just people that have done it. There's a lot of experiments in that starting rotation. We just don't know what they're going to spend for that. So the trade market, I do think everybody, you guys came back to the winter meetings, talking about the trade market, it's just so hard to look at every roster because everybody's a trade
Yeah.
candidate.
Nick
But I think
Pivetta
that's
is
the way
one
to do it to
on that.
control costs.
Could be someone.
Say
Nick
that
Pivetta, Nick Pivetta from the Padres
Yeah.
could be one.
His name
Yeah.
just popped up.
I mean, come on though, Nick Pivetta.
You want to win games?
Sal, have any of the moves been popular?
No, Nick Pivetta? You got to give me something. You can't keep losing guys left and right and come with Nick Pivetta as the response. Peralta, I could get into him. Even Joe Ryan and potentially Buxton from the Twins. That's a sexy trade for me. Nick Pivetta's not going to get anybody
You
excited.
might have given up on the sexy trades when it comes to.
How about, is there at least a sexy addition left?
Was Sean Manaea or Luis Severino sexy additions?
No.
No. But it's so strange, right? He had this amazing year, right? Genius. And then last year, Stearns had a terrible year with the pickups that he made. But I don't think that's going to stray him into, we're now going to go out and get Scooble and sell the farm for one guy.
I'll say this too, that previous ownership would chase PR sometimes. Like, the fans are really mad that I'm trying to think of a concrete example off the top of my head. The fans are really mad about something, so you know what we're going to do? We're going to give a stupid contract to somebody else. That'll make everybody happy. And so what Stearns is trying to do is tune that out and just go like, what are good moves? So like, here's a hypothetical example. In a different era, the Mets may have lost Diaz and then given the 5 years to Alonso because you were all upset. Justifiably upset because you love Pete or because you love Diaz, but you know what I'm saying? Like, and Stearns has got the owner's ear to say, I still don't think that's rational, even though that would win us back-to-back page tomorrow. So that whole sexiness thing, I think that's how they look at it.
But sexy is not just the idea. It's not just, because that's splashes, because usually those are better players.
True.
Kyle Tucker is the best player.
No doubt.
I want the best player.
Guarantee, right? That's what I'm kind of saying about starts. So somebody that gave you 30 starts. You just want something that is Clay Holmes is just going to turn into a starter, and all of a sudden he gave you more innings than anybody else did on the staff.
It's fine for that, but you need to complement it with a true ace, which they don't have. Same thing in the outfield. I'm okay with Benj or Jet Williams or whatever getting an opportunity in the outfield. It better be next to Soto and a big-time outfielder. Does it need to be Kyle Tucker? All right, maybe not. I mean, Gary Cohen brought that up on SNY the other day as far as going after Kyle Tucker, which it seems to make sense. I don't know if they're going to give him a 8, 9. It doesn't seem like that would be the case.
Yeah.
All right, Bellinger. Okay, so you're going to want Tucker, then fine, go get Bellinger. He can play center, he can play left, he can play first. He's proven in New York, he fits the mold. So what's the issue? What, you don't want to give him 6 years?
They like him. They could end up with him. They're one of the teams that's serious about him, I would say.
I do think the trade market, though, is where you might find some of the sexy names where you're giving up prospect capital instead of actual dollars. I think they're frightened to. Steve Cohen wants to spend. He's spending a lot of money, but he's not going to be stupid about it, right? You'll have $23 billion because you're just throwing around money. You should make it wisely. So he's trying to do both, which is bring in a good player that's going to win, give up something to get something, but I don't think spending $400 million is how he wants to do it. I think deep down, 5-10 years down the road, he wants the Mets to spend $220 million and beat the Dodgers. That's the goal.
But the thing is with Steve Cohen, what I'm sensing is that the dollar amount is not the big thing. It's the number of years. That's the thing that stops him. He doesn't want to be clogging up this roster for years to come. So if he's going to spend money to win, he's willing to spend money to win. That's not the issue. He just doesn't want to be stuck to a contract that he can't deal with in 4 or 5 years because the guy is completely on the decline. So sure, would he be willing to spend for Cody Bellinger? Absolutely. Where you get into trouble is, does he want to spend 6 years for Cody Bellinger? Do you want to spend 7 years for Cody Bellinger? Because the market for Bellinger, and I want players to get paid, is going to be slightly inflated because so many people are interested in him. The Yankees are going to want to get him back, and that's going to drive his price up, and that's going to drive the number of years up too.
And the other thing, I think there's a great point, Laura, and the thing about the years commitment thing is that the Mets are far from alone on this. We talk about the Dodgers. One thing I've been thinking about in terms of the Mets letting Alonso walk is that the Dodgers a couple years ago had Corey Seager and Trey Turner was the middle of their infield, and they let them walk because they thought that they were commanding too many years for what made sense for the team. After that, they won 2 championships. I'm not saying that's a direct result of letting stars walk, but I'm saying a lot of smart teams just say, we love you, you're our guy, but not that many years.
And it's not like the Mets won't spend. I would assume, let's say that they don't go big or don't overpay in their mind for Bellinger. But when Scooble hits the open market, that's a guy who I would think you got to give me something. They give him $400 million, or whatever the market's going to say for him. just like they did with Soto, just like they would have done with
If
Yamamoto.
Scuba were a free agent right now,
He'd be
I'm not saying that to get him, but they'd be right at the forefront of all that.
right. So it's not that they're reluctant to give out long-term contracts or spend big money. It's that they're reluctant to do it for guys that they don't deem as the highest of caliber investments.
Yes.
And Soto's young, and Yamamoto, who they tried to get on a long-term deal, is young. So if they ever go a decade on a guy, I bet she's going to be in his mid-20s.
And I do wonder if Scooball was here tomorrow, are the Mets that much better? They
No,
are.
but it's a nice starting point.
They have so many holes to fill. Yes, they could look great with 30 starts,
Right.
but does that translate into, are they going to win the division now? I think we all know that they have so much more body on that roster to fill out. That's the creative part that I'd like to see.
All right, so we got a couple of fun games here that we'll play for you guys that we normally do on our show on Baseball Night in New York on SNY, Monday through Friday, 6 p.m. We'll do a little lineup card. We'll do that between us. Don't look at the questions. Come on, man. You cheated.
I did not look at the
And then,
I'm
we'll have
fairly
the,
accused.
and then we'll have the audience get involved here. We'll do a little sports smush as well, and you guys, I guess, can win some prizes with that. That's what they're telling me. All right, let's do the lineup card.
Okay.
We'll go left to right. Questions 1 through 9 on this here lineup card. You pick a number. I'll ask the corresponding question. Andy, lead us off.
Let's lead off with number 1, please.
I forgot my glasses here, so bear with me. Number 1. I know I need reading
Get
glasses.
older by the minute.
We're all
Will Juan Soto pass Pete Alonso for the most home runs in franchise history when all is said and done?
Yes, absolutely. Pete Alonso is a really good player. Juan Soto's going to retire as one of the greatest hitters of all time and will go into the Hall of Fame as a Met and have all the records, and that'll be cool with it.
He'll be the greatest Met that ever lived, Juan Soto, outside of maybe Seaver.
He'll be the greatest Met hitter who ever lived.
Right.
I mean, we know that Soto is like a guy like Carlos Beltran is hard to beat because in some ways because of the whole game, the defense and everything. But yes, Soto is like,
Come on.
you're in the Ted Williams conversation at that point
He's
offensively.
an animal, man. I
Yeah.
love Soto. Laura, what do you got?
Can I do 6, please?
Yes. Is Die Hard a Christmas movie?
Absolutely, it's a Christmas movie. What are you talking about? It takes place during Christmas. Christmas is its own character in Die Hard.
That's true.
Absolutely, it is.
You guys agree with that Die Hard's a Christmas movie?
It has to be a little bit of Christmas in a movie for it to be a Christmas
I'm
movie.
married. I've never actually even seen that.
Oh!
He's like 21.
Sorry.
Even I've seen
I
it.
mean, the guy with Silver Snape in it? That was the guy?
It's not a Christmas
from Harry
movie.
Potter?
There's
It
like
takes place on Christmas Eve.
there's Christmas in it, but a Christmas movie is, like Al for
There's
Home
a
Alone.
Christmas party in it, whatever.
All right, Keith, what do you got?
I didn't hear what Andy said, so not what Andy or Laura picked.
Not 1 or 6.
Okay, 7.
Bigger bounce back season, Vientos or Alvarez?
Ooh, that's a good one. How about both, please?
You gotta pick one. Come on.
I think Alvarez. I mean, I think Francisco Alvarez he went through a lot last year. I think he got fixed at AAA. I think JP Arancibia, who's now got brought up to coach him catching wise framing. I think he's gonna have a much more bounce back year because he can do both. I think Mark's great. Mark can hit, but he's just kind of one dimensional. He's part of the defensive problem last year. So I think Alvarez is more upside than
All right.
Alvarez.
Andy, back to you. He better, Alvarez. I mean, it's now or never. Let's go. Go ahead, Andy. Not 1, 6, or 7.
3, please.
Bigger NL East rival for the Mets, Phillies or the Braves?
I think it's the Braves. I think the Phillies, this run of the Phillies is peaked. They're getting older. And the Braves are always good. And the fact that they weren't good last year, they've already reloaded very nicely, built a nice bullpen. And they have a good pitching coach, I'm sorry to say.
Yeah.
So,
Oh, come on. With Hefner?
It's true.
Oh, the pitching coach, like it makes a big difference. Screw the Phillies and the Braves.
I think I'll make it feel better. I think the Antoine Richardson departure is overstated in its impact, but Hefner's good.
He went there to Atlanta? I forget.
Yeah.
Okay, big deal.
He's a first baseman.
I hate them both with all my heart. Laura, what do you got?
Can I do 9, please?
Yes, Kodai Senga or David Peterson, who will have more wins next season? For the Mets, I'm assuming. Who knows where they'll be?
I think David Peterson, because I'm not sure if Kodai Senga is going to be a Met next season. It was interesting. You asked David Stearns about Senga, and he's like, he's had the best offseason in his career. He's had the best offseason. He hasn't looked like this since 2023, and that means one or two things. Kodai Senga is going to have a great season next year, or his trade value is being pumped up. So we'll see.
All right, Keith, what do you got?
2, please.
Number 2, Rockefeller Center tree. You love going to see it or avoid it at all costs?
Avoid it at all costs.
Wow, you really have the crowd on your side on that one. Guys, in Christmas spirit? Come on.
Oh, I love it. I went to school in Ohio for college, and people were like, oh, you've been to the Statue of Liberty, right? Empire State Building? No, never in my life. From Long Island, I can see it from my house. That's good. Traffic is too long.
I went to see it last week. Now, it was crazy. I have a young daughter.
Tree with lights? Come on.
Dude, we were there for 2 seconds, through the crowd, quick selfie, get the hell out of here.
Yeah.
I'd rather be here with you guys. All right, Andy, what do you got?
Was 3 still there?
No, 4, 5, 8.
4, please.
What seat do you prefer on an airplane, aisle or window?
Well, I'm not getting any younger, as I mentioned earlier, and the older you get,
It's offensive, Andy.
I'm 45 years old, Mary, and what I'm going to say about that is that one needs an aisle seat more and more as one ages. That's all I'm going to say.
Not only do we get
You gentlemen know what I'm talking about.
not only do we get Mets insight from Andy, prostate insight as well. All right, Laura, what? 5 or 8?
I will do number 8, please.
Who will lead the Mets in home runs next season?
Juan Soto. I mean, Juan Soto. Do I need to expand on this?
Is there really even who's even out there that could be a threat?
I agree it's Soto, but man, I'm sorry. I know everyone's down on him, but when Mark Vientos hits, that guy hits home runs.
Oh,
So,
Come on,
Andy
man.
Martino
Soto will
thinks-
have more, but Vientos is going to hit a
Andy
lot.
Martino thinks that Mark Vientos is going to have more home runs than Juan Soto.
I didn't
right.
say that.
You're right. He doesn't know what he's talking about.
I said they're both good.
Vientos, come on. It can't. That can't be the answer. All right, last one for you, Keith, and then we'll get to the sports smudge. Next player is number 5. Next player to wear a Mets hat in the Hall of Fame induction.
Ooh.
Carlos Beltran.
Is he going to wear a Mets hat?
You should.
He's in the front office right now, too.
Yeah.
He doesn't get to
He
choose
wasn't
that,
showing
though.
for work on Monday.
He didn't-
I think so. He had great years in a lot of places. Came with Kansas City, Houston had a great playoff run, but what he did to the
Not going to be an
Mets.
asterisk.
Couldn't it? Well,
Yeah, perfectly said. It's definitely not going to be the answer.
he played for so many. He could be neutral situation, right? They have no.
He feels like a Met to me. Like he's been a lot of places, but he feels like the core of that amazing career was a Met.
All right, let's do some sports smush here to close it out. We do this on the show as well. Give you an example of what it is. Legendary Mets captain plus aviation pioneers. Would you know that one, Andy? Laura, you would have that? Go ahead.
David Wright brothers.
Yes, David Wright brothers.
You were quicker than me.
Good job. That's how the game goes. So I think we're playing. Gus, come up here and just explain it for a second. Can you explain it?
This is Gus, everybody.
Yeah.
Give a hand to Gus, please.
I gotta work with this guy.
Go ahead.
So we'll start with the fans one at a time. There's no teamwork. So Sal will ask you the first question. He'll give you a hint, just like you just mentioned, and you have like 15 seconds to answer it. Then we'll move on to Andy. Then we'll move on to the second one. So forth and so forth. There's 12 of these, and we have great grand prizes.
There's 12 of them?
Yeah.
Jeez. What time do you think we're here till? All right, number 1. So we're starting, you said, with the audience? Okay. Number 1, Mets outfielder from 2010 to 2012. It didn't go very well. That's my extra hint. And Northern California region. No help. Yeah.
Oh, wait.
Jason.
You can't say it out loud, Andy.
No, although maybe that is a spot because I'm not really familiar with geography, but that is not the answer here. You guys.
Bad Mets outfielder, Northern California
Yes.
region. Andrew Brown, Napa Valley.
Laura, you know it.
Jason Bay area.
There you go. Jason Bay area.
Did that say
Yeah.
bad Mets outfielder or just Mets outfielder? Andy had-
No, I edited.
Oh.
Well, yes, Andy edited it. I said it didn't go very well.
said?
All right, let's go again. Number 2, former Met. You ready? These are tough for me too, so don't feel bad if you don't. Oh, there's Andy. Oh, I'm sorry. This is Andy here, and then we'll go back to
I
you.
asked
at
the
number
question. I answered.
No, I got it.
Okay.
Former Met and MLB pitching legend, and current host of Wheel of Fortune.
Nolan Ryan Seacrest.
Yeah! Wow. I don't know if I would have gotten that one. All right, number 3. Current boxer and influencer, plus former Mets pitcher who was an all-star in 2022, but not for the Mets.
Whoa.
This is a tough one. Who the hell came up with this one? The way I would say, forget the all-star part, crappy Mets pitcher. He was a crappy Mets starter that went to the Yankees last year as well. current boxer and influencer, and a crappy Mets pitcher that also played for the Yankees last year.
Oh, I got it.
Blanken?
This is a really hard one.
This is a hard one.
Yeah, go ahead. Wild shot. No. You got
Logan Paul Blackburn.
Jake Paul Blackburn.
Okay. Basic concept. I think those two apart.
Hold on. Paul Blackburn was an all-star?
It's a terrific jacket. Come on.
That is a great jacket. When is Paul Blackburn an all-star? Okay.
That's
Number 4. This is Laura. This is you.
Oh, okay.
Former Mets catcher from 2013 and Mets manager. Where's page 2? It's on the back here, Gus.
2013 catcher.
Oh, that's it right there. Former Mets catcher from 2013 and Mets manager.
Oh my God, that's for only 1 year. 2013. Who the hell?
It's former Mets catcher from 2013 and a former Mets manager. Yes.
Oh my God.
Think of a Mets.
I'm going through all their.
This is really hard. I don't have it either.
It was the dark years.
The 2013. I'm trying to think.
Anything? Can the crowd steal?
I can't think of the 2013 the catcher in 2013.
Travis Turner, Josh.
Totally no.
Yeah.
It's not Pilecki. It's not.
Anybody? John Buck. There you go. John Buck
I didn't
Showalter.
have it. That's good. That's good.
There's no
All right.
way I'm
You got that?
All right, number 5 for you. Former Gussie, come on with these. Former WWE superstar. Okay, you're out. Let's help you out. Let's help you out. You guys can help her out with this one. Former WWE superstar, whose nickname is something that you would use to shave, plus a Mets catcher from 2005 from 2005 to 2009.
Something you used to shave.
I wouldn't have gotten that.
Razor Ramon Castro, yes. Razor Ramon
You got
Castro.
dealt a bad hand there.
Thank you very much, Vlad. It's all right. I don't make the questions, he does.
It's getting harder.
You're up, Keith.
Come on down.
Indiana Jones creator and former Met from 2010 to 2017. Whoever got that out there, that was rapid fire. Good job.
Sing it loud and proud. George Lucas.
Nice.
There you go.
Say.
Hey, these are fun.
In the
Okay.
back? Good job.
All right. Back to the top over here. Large breed of dogs from the Alps and Mets outfielder from 1996 to 1999. You guys are getting really good at this. Guys, I don't think we need to do 12.
Bernard Gilkey.
I love Bernard Gilkey, man. He was a beast in 96.
Yeah.
All right. Yeah, what are they winning? What do you got? All right, you got to start getting.
Swag bags.
Swag bags.
All right, we'll do a couple more. We don't need to do full 12. We'll do a couple more.
Okay.
Back to you, Andy. We'll do 3 more, okay? And then we'll get the hell out of here. Taking up too much time anyway. TC's got to go next. Legendary MLB home run hitter and Mets reliever from 2003 to 2008.
Oh, I know this one.
Go ahead, Laura, if you got it.
Yeah, go ahead.
Hank Aaron Highland?
Yeah! Yeah!
Very good. Very good.
All right, back up, my man. Former Jets quarterback from 76 to 83 and a 41 home run hitter for the Mets in 1996.
I'm a one-man sport.
Respect. The Jets and Giants suck. Don't start following them. There you go, Richard Todd Hundley. Richard Todd and Todd Hundley. I remember that 96 season very well. All right. 1986. This is you, Laura? Okay, go ahead. Yes. We'll do this last one for you. Okay. 1986 Mets hero and a show with a character named Kit.
Oh, Ray Mac.
Yeah! There you go. And on that note, we say goodbye. Thank you guys very much. We also give out some prizes here. We appreciate your time and support as always.